presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southeast.
It's time for Braves baseball from beautiful San Diego, California, and we welcome you to the ballpark that dare not speak its name. It's game one of a three-game series, the Braves and the Padres, as our Great Western Tour continues tonight. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe, welcome to San Diego, where hopefully the Padres will be exactly what the doctor ordered for the Braves. The Atlanta club swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers. They get a break. The Padres off to a slow start. Maybe Williams Perez will get some run support, and the Braves will get a win.
Yeah, two last-place clubs go at it, a clash of titans here the next
Yes,
3 days. And Williams Perez gets the first call for the Atlanta Braves. He's been pitching good baseball. His last 6 starts, 2-1 with a 3.06 ERA and a good opponent average against him, and he's pitching deep into the ball game. He's like so many other Braves pitchers, very little run support, so that's part of Williams' problems in terms of why he's not better than 2-1.
Braves have had trouble hitting left-handed pitchers, but Jeff Francoeur has not had trouble hitting them. He's having a great run against lefties and righties, and Jeff, of course, in the lineup tonight.
He's the hottest hitter in the lineup for either side, lefty or righty. Jeff's been doing a real good job against left-handers and right-handers alike. And it's part of our Zaxby's indescribably good play because of the way he's swinging the bat, whether he's coming off the bench or starting as he did in Los Angeles a couple of games and picking up some extra base hits like he did yesterday when he had a couple of doubles. He's playing good baseball. Oh, by the way, threw out a runner at home plate last night, too.
So Katie bar the door. Jeff Francoeur is in the lineup for game one of this series. Christian Friedrich is the man on the mound for the Padres. We'll see if the Braves can break into the win column as they face San Diego in game one tonight. More from Petco Park. Hey, I did it right after this.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Game one of the Braves versus the Padres. And what is California without a beach? I have obviously found my way over to San Diego Beach. It's a little area that can be rented out for every game. Tonight, it's the San Diego Sheriff's Department that has it. It can seat up to 250 to 300 people. It has a nice little sandy area back there, of course, because it's a beach. And then they also have boards that represent every single retired number Padres. And then right above me is Craft Beer. A play on Craft Beer. They have all these locally crafted beers down here, and it is incredible to enjoy the game. It's one of the new additions. The surfboards were just installed for this homestand, and I think I might have one of the best seats in the house. And the All-Star game will also be here on July 12th, so I would really love to be kicking it up back here watching that game. But everybody make sure to stay with us because, like I said, we have game one of the Braves versus the Padres with Williams Perez on the mound for your Atlanta Braves. That's coming up.
Delta Airlines, your local Ford dealer, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Another beautiful day in Southern California, and it's cooled off here in San Diego. Gentle breeze is blowing, temperature in the high 60s as we get set for game one of the season between the Braves and the San Diego Padres. This is one of my favorite ballparks in the National League circuit. It's absolutely gorgeous, and all the buildings downtown have really changed the way this park is playing, Joe. We understand that Petco is now a much friendlier place for the hitters than it used to be.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens, how the wind currents and everything start bouncing off buildings, circulating around the stadium and blowing out instead of in quite so much. But it's still heavy air. It's still that marine layer type moist air. We'll see how it affects balls that are flying today.
So the Padres take the field with a 23-35 record. Here's how they will line up. Melvin Upton Jr. is their left fielder. John Jay's having a great year. He's in center. Matt Kemp struggling since May 1st. Will Myers, Yangervis Solarte at second. Alexi Ramirez, the former White Sox shortstop, is in the lineup tonight. Brett Wallace is at third, and Derek Norris behind the plate. Christian Friedrich is the man on the mound for San Diego in game one.
He's 28-year-old. This 28-year-old left-hander originally was in the Rockies organization. This was noteworthy. His first inning problems are something that plague a lot of pitchers, not really ready to go when they come into the ball game. Maybe the Braves can jump on him early and get a lead for Williams Perez, because after the first inning, Mr. Friedrich settles in quite nicely. Fastball, curveball, slider change, throws his fastball in the 89 to 92 range.
And the lineup he will face, as presented by Brian Snitker. Atlanta comes in with a record of 16-40 on the year. Got to get the 1-2-3 hitters going. The trio at the top of the lineup card in Los Angeles had 4 total hits in 3 games at Dodger Stadium. Jeff Francoeur kills lefties. He's the cleanup man. Nick Markakis, Tyler Flowers, Adonis Garcia, Kelly Johnson hits 8th, and of course Perez, the pitcher, will bat 9th. It goes without saying the first 56 games have been a very rough ride for the Atlanta Braves. We talked a lot in the early going of this season about the schedule, how it was the most difficult schedule in Major League Baseball. And considering what Atlanta went through in the second half last year, the remodeling that has taken place during the offseason and at the beginning of this season, at long last, Atlanta finds themselves playing a team that's in last place themselves, the Padres, tonight. So we'll see what gives here tonight.
And there's a lot of similarities to these two teams and their struggles in terms of being down near the bottom of the league in offense, bottom of the league in defense. The Padres have actually made 4 more errors than the Braves have made. So we'll see who can prevail over the next 3 days. An opportunity for the Braves to get back on the winning track.
So Ender Inciarte is ready to go. Ender at 202 on the year. And the first pitch is launched out of play, and we're underway. .69 degrees officially at first pitch. The second pitch is in at 77 miles an hour. It's 0-2. Friedrich beat Seattle last time out. 5 innings of 9-hit, 4-run, 4-walk baseball. Called up in mid-May by the Padres. A former #1 pick in 2008 out of Eastern Kentucky University.
Ender Inciarte, with his struggles at the plate, you can tie some of it to just too many fly ball outs, too many pop-ups, not hitting the ball on the ground. 4 fly ball outs in game 1 of the series in Los Angeles. He had 1 pop-up in game 2, played late in the game yesterday, and both outs were fly ball outs.
That just missed a corner, says Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire. And we're at 2-2 with Chase d'Arnaud waiting next. And up and in. 14 walks in 21 1/3 innings for the Padres left-hander. So if you wait him out, he is likely to hurt himself with a free pass. That's down the left field line and headed for the seats. And we'll do it again. And a fan from Hunter College came away with that souvenir.
How did you know?
Here comes the payoff. And it is ball 4. So Inciarte fell behind 0-2. Friedrich promptly walked him, and there's a good start for the Braves in game 1 tonight. d'Arnaud's got a 2 for 13 road trip working and is hitting .314 overall this season. He's hitting lefties at a .324 clip. Chase had a great visit with his mom up at Dodger Stadium. She was in Los Angeles for the last game of the series with the Dodgers. His dad and grandfather are here watching him play tonight.
Everything's been high from Friedrich so far. Got to make him get the ball down.
Ripped into right field and almost clocked Inciarte, who's on his way to third base. Kemp got to it quickly, and the Braves have runners at the corners with nobody out. And look at Ender Inciarte.
you got to pay attention. Chase uses the whole field, put a good swing on this one. Another high pitch, and he just leveled off on it. Watch Inciarte at first here. Wanted to run, but had to duck first.
So runners are at the corners for Freddie Freeman. This is the man Braves have to get going. He has had a lot of runners in scoring position opportunities, but he has had an extended dry spell with men at second and third. And he almost got hit. 1 ball, no strikes. Hard to believe that Freddie Freeman is 6 for 47 with runners in scoring position this year. That's a 128 average.
Yeah, that number you told me yesterday is one that surprised me.
Swing and a miss.
And if you take away his home runs, he has 7 RBIs without his homers, even less. Here are those opponent averages against Friedrich. Bases empty, high number, but he seems to really clamp down when you get some guys in scoring position. We'll see if he's able to be as fortunate tonight.
Third worst average in the major leagues for Freddie Freeman. And he struck out in 17 of those 47 at bats. And he's down swinging for the first out.
Chasing a lot away, breaking ball away, and just from looking at his balance here, you can see by the way he followed through, his weight is still like on his heels. He's still thinking pull, even though he's behind in the count. He's trying to drive the ball out of the infield to get the run in, but it's almost like he's still trying to pull whatever Friedrich was going to throw.
So Jeff Francoeur bats with 1 out. And he takes the ball low. Just looking at Freddie as he made his way back to the dugout, you can tell that those struggles are killing him.
Well, they are because he carries the weight of this team on his shoulders, knowing he's the guy, you know, in the middle of the lineup that's supposed to deliver. But just like we've seen with all these shifts, every team shifting on Freddie with nobody on base, they're playing him as a dead pull hitter. He was swinging that at bat like a guy who's trying to be a dead pull hitter.
Francoeur went around, and the count even, a ball and a strike. Jeff is on a great run for the Braves. And with a left-hander on the mound and a run-scoring spot, he's the right man at the right time, we hope, here in the top of the first. Slow roller. Pitcher can't get it. Ramirez with a bare hand does. It's a ground out to short, but it brings home Inciarte with the game's first run, and Atlanta cashes in a leadoff walk. It's 1-0. Sixteenth RBI for Jeff Francoeur.
Yeah, Jeff will take that any way he can to get that run in. A good read by Inciarte to take off on the point of contact. That ties Francoeur with Freeman in RBIs.
So Nick Markakis is coming up. He had a little more pep in his step in the last game against the Dodgers. Let's see if that carries over here. Runner at second, 2 outs. And Friedrich delivers a strike, and as you showed on the scouting report, early run's a problem for the Padres starter.
And 1 on the board already.
Little tapper. Friedrich's going to get this one, and that will retire the side. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left. Good start for the Braves offense. Williams Perez goes to work. He's got a lead. An early lead. Time for the bottom of the first inning for Williams Perez.
Opponent's batting averages against Williams Perez very low with the bases empty. That means he's working from the windup. Runners on base, not so much when he's working out of the stretch. And that will lead us to his 4 keys tonight. Number one, he's had some early inning problems, especially in the first inning. He needs to avoid that tonight because he's already got a 1-0 lead. And the windup. Williams Perez is allowing an average of 204 when he works from the windup, and it goes to 297 out of the stretch, and as you saw, 324 with runners in scoring position. That is something to keep an eye on tonight, how he pitches out of the stretch.
And he's running into a Padres team that offensively right now really is a buzzsaw. They're swinging the bats well, 1 through 8. Especially this guy at the top, John Jay, the leadoff man, who takes a strike.
This guy's been one of the best leadoff men in baseball.
He's something. 299 average. Couple of homers, 18 RBIs. Jay, a former Cardinal. Only one center fielder in Major League Baseball has more hits than John Jay, and that's Ian Desmond. Remember him?
I do indeed.
Former shortstop, now playing center for the Texas Rangers. So Jay, Myers, and then Matt Kemp. And well off the plate. It's full count. There's Will Myers. Wrist problems cost him much of last season. And a shot headed toward right center field. That's a long run for Ender Inciarte. It's up against the fence. Jay around second will stop there with a leadoff double. Told you he's hot. And San Diego's trying to answer in their first inning.
This guy's been hitting .400 over the last 11 games. And during this long homestand for the Padres, he's 12 for 24, make him 13 for 25. And the count went to full, 3-2. He got a good pitch to hit and didn't miss it. Deep counts have been plaguing the Braves starters on this trip so far.
Deep counts, which means to short outings, which means to a very well-used bullpen.
Yep, tired bullpen.
So here's the pride of Thomasville, North Carolina, Will Myers. And he takes a strike. Will played just 60 games last year, 2 separate stints on the disabled list. And he was the next big thing with Tampa Bay in 2013 when he broke in.
It was going to be the guy with the Royals until they traded him to Tampa Bay.
That was the deal for Wade Davis, James Shields, and Elliott Johnson. Then he came to the Padres in a 3-team deal. Saw Trey Turner go to the Nationals. Joe Ross went to Washington. And Myers, a 1-1 count, is taken low. He was originally a 3rd-round pick, was Will, in 2009 by Kansas City.
Not too many guys that hit these days without 7 or 8 batting gloves on. And not only that, he's reaching down between pitches and putting a little dirt, rubbing dirt in his hands. That's old school.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Left wrist tendonitis was one of the injury problems for Myers, and then he had a bone spur removed in the left wrist. Young players and wrist problems, you worry about that.
I'd say he's been taking a lot of batting practice too.
Bouncer over the mound. That'll get a runner to third. Productive out for Will Myers. And here comes Matt Kemp. He's hit 14 homers this year, and he's the third place hitter on Andy Green's Padre lineup card. Yangervis Solarte is their cleanup man. Melvin Upton fifth. Wallace, Norris, Ramirez, and Friedrich the bottom part of the card.
See those lights at the top of that graphic? That's noteworthy. They have different lights here at Petco Park this year. The first National League park to install LED lighting.
The pitch to Kemp is off the plate. That'll be a feature of SunTrust Park.
It will indeed.
Matt Kemp, 31 now.
94 on that last fastball from Williams. Again, here we are out of the stretch, first inning. See if he can pitch around that runner at third.
Last year was Kemp's first year in San Diego. Led the team in hits, games, and RBIs. He had a 100 RBI season here in San Diego and hit for the first cycle in the history of this franchise. Took the Padres 7,444 all-time games for their first offensive cycle.
Wow.
And they're still looking for their first no-hitter. 3 balls, no strikes. Kemp took a fastball. Now 3-1. Yangervis Solarte is getting ready in the on-deck circle. And Kemp drives one towards center. That'll chase Inciarte back. That'll be deep enough to tie the game. Tagging and scoring is John Jay. It's 1-1 here in the first. Got him on, got him over, got him in. And Matt Kemp adds to his RBI total, and we're even at 1 apiece.
This has a familiar ring to it. The Braves got 2 in the first yesterday against Scott Kazmir and promptly had the game tied up in the bottom of the first against Matt Wisler.
.40 RBIs for Kemp. Now Solarte bats. And he takes a strike. He came from the Yankees. That was the Chase Headley deal, July 22nd, 2014. He had 14 homers last season.
Had some big games against the Braves too.
Well, who didn't? That's been a long ongoing problem for Atlanta against the Padres. Braves have lost 10 consecutive games in this city. Bounding ball to first. Freddie Freeman's got it. The pitcher to the bag. And that will retire the side. Both leadoff men have scored for their respective clubs in the first inning. We go to the second.
Joe mentioned the LED lights. This is the first National League park to install these lights that SunTrust Park will have next year. And before the game, they showed what they're capable of. The issue with current lights is that they need to warm up. It takes time for them to turn on. Well, these LED lights can turn on and on with the flip of a switch, and they were doing that in a crowd message to tell the fans that they don't want you to use flash photography. So they flipped the lights on and off, and it was cool to see what SunTrust Park will be capable of next season.
Yeah, good point, Kelsey. There could be all kinds of cool interactive light shows after a home run. Could be like The Natural, right?
Sure.
If you want to do that sort of thing.
You get somebody to hit one like that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, quite frankly.
You hit one up in these light standards, you've hit it a mile.
Tyler Flowers leads off the second, hitting .242. Tyler with a couple of homers. So we'll see what Friedrich has in store for Atlanta. First inning's his worst. After that, he gets very tough. And his offense has gotten him back even at a run apiece. Not close. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Guess it's safe to say for the Padres there's some auditioning going on for a role in their starting rotation now that James Shields has been traded to the White Sox.
You know, the disappointment for the Padres and their fans is that they were all set to compete. They were gearing up for a run at the National League West and thought they had positioned themselves as such. So to be in last place, 11.5 back already, huge disappointment. Well, that was a pretty good pitch. Good eye for Tyler.
This is another leadoff walk for Andy Green's starter. Well, their season got off to a less than scintillating start. They were swept by the Dodgers and were outscored 25-0 in 3 games.
That made Andy Green think that, what am I doing here?
Yes. And they've had some real clinkers. Last week they gave up a big lead to Seattle. The Mariners came back from 10 runs down to win. And they've really been a tough club to figure. They'll go 6-7 days where they swing the bats like they're swinging them now, and then they'll go into a stretch where they can't hit anybody.
Since May 27th, they won 10-3, lost 8-7, lost 6-3, lost 9-3, lost 16-4. The next day won 14-6, then lost 16-13. It's been a mess.
Yeah. Popped up by Adonis Garcia. Solarte drifts back at second, and that hangs up forever for the first out. So the point I'm making about Friedrich is if there's anybody who can step in and give this team 6 innings consistently of 3 or less runs, that would be a revelation for this Padres ball club. And you would think in this park with this weather, this would be a great place to pitch. It has not turned out that way by and large this year yet. Kelly Johnson bats with 1 on, 1 out. Kelly at .221 for the year and a strike. And Kelly Johnson didn't get that sweeping pitch. 2 strikeouts for Friedrich, 2 outs for Williams Perez.
And both of the strikeouts left-handed hitters, both of the hitters chasing that same pitch.
Williams Perez is looking for his first base hit of the year. He's 0 for 14. That one's popped up right side. That one is in the seats. Nice catch. Oh, 0-1 for the Braves pitcher. Fly ball center. Jay on the run, but he's going to catch that well shy of the warning track. Well hit, but the Braves can't cash in a second leadoff walk to Tyler Flowers. 1-1's your score. Home second coming up. And SunTrust Park will soon offer the best entertainment experience in Atlanta. With great dining options and boutique shops on site, going to a Braves game will never be the same. Be a part of the excitement. Get your tickets today at braves.com/SunTrustPark.
If you can't find it there next year, you can't find it anywhere. Anything and everything you want will be right at your fingertips at the ballpark.
And what will be taking place at the Battery, I think, really reminds me of what's here at the Gaslamp District here in San Diego, although it's not all one encompassing plot of real estate. You got the same restaurants, shops, and bars and hotels right outside the gates down by the water here in San Diego. And all the development out beyond center field just continues to amaze. When this place was built, there was not nearly that many condos and office buildings beyond the center field fence here. Great setting. And Melvin Upton Jr. will lead off for the Padres. Melvin's in a 2 for his last 20 slide, but he's done good work for the Padres overall with 6 home runs. And he swings the first pitch and pops it up right to the shortstop. And that's put away by Chase d'Arnaud. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Well, we've got a second. A tip of the cap and a thank you to all those who served and were involved in D-Day. On this date in 1944, 72 years ago. What a turning point in World War II. I was just reading some numbers on that. 160,000 Allied troops involved in that. And 9,000 were lost or wounded in that. So thank you very much for all those who served.
Those are great words in a town like this, which has such a heavy military presence. As you see, Brett Wallace with 1 out, bases empty. He's playing third base and hitting .223. And that's in for a strike. 0-2. Wallace has been around the horn a time or two. Houston and now San Diego. Hit .302 with the Padres last year in 64 games. Played in the minor leagues in all of 2014. He was originally a 42nd round pick by Toronto, didn't sign in 2005. Then the Cardinals took him as a first rounder. And he was traded to Oakland in a big Matt Holliday deal. But traded for Michael Taylor, for Anthony Gose. And then the Padres got him as a minor league free agent. Out of Arizona State. And in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Braves have a shift on for him with 3 guys on the right side. I've never seen him play third base before, only first base, so makes me wonder, given his size, how well he could charge a bunt in the case of Ender Inciarte or anyone else who might want to try to test him.
This is his 28th game at third base for San Diego. He had 22 career games at the hot corner in his big league career. And you're right, the only other position was first. But Will Myers plays there for the Padres now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's Derek Norris underneath the facial whiskers. He's on deck. Into the shift. Kelly off the heel of his glove in shallow right. Can't corral it. And Wallace is aboard with 1 out.
Wait to see how they score it. But Kelly's been having a tough time. They're going to score an error on Kelly, and I think that's appropriate. He's had a lot of balls hit his glove or hit in his glove and pop out. And granted, he's out in shallow right field. He's going to have to make that play quickly, but one that should have been made.
His 6th error. Perez to the stretch, and Norris takes a strike. 6 homers and 14 RBIs for the Padres catcher. His backup is a familiar name, Christian Bethancourt, the former Brave, is on this Padre roster. Norris, a former Oakland A as well, and that's in for a strike. He had 14 homers last year in 147 games for the Padres. He batted .250. And was an all-star 2 years ago with Oakland.
And he's having a good homestand like every one of their guys. 7 for 17 with a homer.
One ball, 2 strikes. Norris was born and lives in Goddard, Kansas. strokes one toward left. Francoeur going back onto the warning track is going to have just enough room. And Norris flies out to left. Back to first is Wallace. And here's former White Sox shortstop Alexi Ramirez.
Two teammates there chatting it up. Ex-teammates.
Alexi now 34 years old. Signed as a free agent in January. It's big years with the White Sox. 2008 he hit a career high 21 homers. He's had 10 or more homers in 6 major league seasons. And 70 more RBIs in 5.
And he's not even the guy that caught the ball.
One ball, one strike. 1-1 game. Pitch is off the plate. Garcia at third, and that will retire the side. Williams Perez pitches around the Kelly Johnson error. Top of the Braves order will get things started in the 3rd inning. Beautiful night in San Diego where we're tied in game 1. Ciarte will get things started for the Braves, and Ender has played in this ballpark quite a bit. He's our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
Yeah, wow, with the Diamondbacks, 3 trips a year here, good numbers. 11 for 22 here last year. Maybe he'll be a difference maker for the Braves in this series, where the Braves have had trouble winning. Their last win here was August 28th of 2012.
That's hard to believe.
Oh, gosh, Chipper Jones might have been playing then. Think how long ago that was.
I'll bet old Chipper's up late. It's probably way past his bedtime, but I'll bet he's up watching this game back east. As As Inciarte scorches one off the auxiliary scoreboard foul, it's quickly 0-2.
That guy made a great catch and didn't even drop a nacho.
That's skill.
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh. And he didn't dance. He was just proud to have them both.
That's right. You don't want to spill the nachos.
No.
At any cost. And that guy's ready. He is at the edge of his seat. I love the fact he's paying attention with the ball in play. And Inciarte checked to swing. It's 2-2. Just off the corner, and it's a deep count.
It's interesting. Got Fred in, he got Kelly with breaking balls, a lot of sweepers when he got ahead in the count with them, but Ender hasn't had to fight that pitch.
Strike three, and Inciarte's rung up. 3 strikeouts for Friedrich.
That looked like a straight change. And if it actually was a strike, it was a great pitch.
One up, one down for d'Arnaud, who has the lone Braves hit. And a strike. Another inexplicable thing for this Atlanta club is their struggles against left-handed pitching. The Braves have just not done anything against southpaw starters. They're 6-15 against lefties. This one's hit toward third. Wallace backed up, long throw, shot putted it across to first. And that's an easy hit for d'Arnaud, his second of the night. But Joe, the Braves are striking out about 26% of their at-bats against lefties, and that's the left-hand hitters and the righties.
Yeah, and Freddie Freeman's never had an issue hitting against left-handed pitching. That's been a battle for him this year too. I mean, you take Jeff Francoeur's numbers away. He's hitting .359 against lefties coming in. You take him away, it drops quite a bit lower. And that .217 average they have against left-handed pitching is last in the major leagues.
So here's our second look at Freddie Freeman. He struck out with first and third, nobody out, his first time up. And he just broke his bat.
Yeah, but he did so trying to hit the ball a little inside out or try to go the other way. That's a good sign. How about these two teams? Braves are the lowest against lefties. San Diego the lowest against right-handed pitching.
Yeah, not too many left-handed compliments for either offense.
This game may go 30 innings.
It very well might. No balls at a strike for Freddie Freeman. And that one's hammered towards center. Jay going back. He's at the edge of the track and makes a sliding grab. And from the seat of his pants, he flips the ball to Matt Kemp. That ball was well hit, but as you said, cool, moist air. Tough to hit it out at night in San Diego.
Good swing there by Freddie. Just to the wrong part of the ballpark, and a nice play by Jay after he appeared to overrun it just a little bit. This park's actually smaller than it was when it was first configured. They brought some seats in from right field and from right center.
Yeah, the sand pit's gone.
Yeah,
in right center.
Disappointing.
That was one of the cool features here. They do call that area of the park, as Francoeur didn't get it, San Diego or Sun Diego Beach, but it's become a two-tiered party deck. And that's where Kelsey was earlier tonight. Great place to watch a game. No balls, 2 strikes. And Francoeur is down swinging, and Friedrich is living up to the scouting report. Had some trouble in the first. He's been tough since. 4 strikeouts, and he'll lead off the home third. Hitting 9-1-2 coming up for the Padres, who've won 13 of their first 30 games here at home. As we've said, Braves are 0 for their last 10 at Petco, and I think Chipper Jones was still playing the last time the Braves won a game here.
So you're saying he really wasn't a difference maker then at that point?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
A minus 23 run differential in those 12 games, that would lead you to believe that there were a lot of tight games, a lot of close games. They sure have had their share of bad luck here.
How many times the Braves have scored more than 3 runs in that 10-game stretch in this park?
Do not.
Once. In fact, we're told the only Braves still in uniform the last time the Braves won here is Freddie Freeman. There's that one over for a strike to the Padres pitcher. 25th overall pick by the Colorado Rockies. And low and away. You've got to feel like you've escaped Devil's Island if you can get away from Coors Field as a pitcher. And to pitch in this place, well, what a difference. As Perez strikes him out, that's Williams' first punch out tonight, and a good start to his 3rd inning.
It's got to make you feel almost like you're starting over. You know, I don't have to pitch the same way. I can go about my business with my stuff, whatever it is, and know that I can get away with a few mistakes, especially in this ballpark.
I was going to ask you, you played in Colorado Springs in the Pacific Coast League, did you not?
Did not.
You did not. Albuquerque, though, was a great year's park.
Yeah, it was a mile high. All jumped.
Jay pulls it foul. Does a pitcher have to unlearn habits? Does a hitter have to unlearn habits playing in altitude as opposed to a place like San Diego?
I think I mean, everybody tries to downplay some of the offensive numbers at Coors Field, and maybe there's a legitimate reason to. But Todd Helton, you know, the numbers he put up over a career there are Hall of Fame worthy, but he's going to get discriminated against because that's where he played. So when
Kelly at second, handles this one cleanly. Jay's retired.
So when a guy hits great at Coors Field and then just hits average somewhere else, it's like, well, what's wrong with him?
Right.
What's the deal? And I think the same thing applies to the pitchers. who are pitching great away from there, and then they get dogged because they've got such high ERAs at Coors Field. I don't know that it's all that fair. Yeah, you can't, I guess, go on the road away from Coors Field and swing for the fences like you do at Coors and get away with a lot. Drop some in, hit some flares because there's so much ground to cover. I just remember teammates that I had in Albuquerque that it was the same thing at Coors Field. They had trouble with breaking balls. They couldn't get their curveball to break like it would somewhere else.
So you almost have to have two different styles of pitching, right?
Well, you got it, yeah.
To have a chance at being successful, because as you said, what works at home or what works on the road isn't going to necessarily work at home, where you are going to make most of your starts anyway.
I don't know if you got to have different styles, but you got to have some different pitches.
Right. And does that apply offensively, or do you just try to square it up no matter where you are and see where it drops?
I think there's like a reverse thing. Having never played at Coors Field, but I'm confident there are guys that go into Coors Field that don't play there every day, thinking I'm going to have a home run binge here for 3 days, and overswing, thinking the ball's going to go out of the park on every swing. So they get caught up in that, trying to hit home runs at Coors Field, and maybe wind up having a bad series.
Yeah, I would think for the Rockies, from the pitching staff's perspective, it's the biggest home field disadvantage in baseball, with the exception that their team hits last. Good changeup from Perez, evens up the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Wil Myers, and now full count. Kemp is next. He drove home the first San Diego run with a sac fly. It's a 1-1 game. We're in the third. Slow roller down the third base line. Is that going to stay fair? It is. Infield hit for Myers.
He's got some stolen bases too, so this is not something that was just going to extend the inning. You got to keep an eye on him. He's 6 out of 7 in stolen bases.
RBIs for Kemp, and he bats with 2 outs. Kemp is signed through the 2019 season. It's a gigantic deal. He signed with the Dodgers. Zach Eflin, Joe Weiland, and Yasmani Grandal went to Los Angeles for Matt Kemp. And he singles to right. Markakis got to it quickly. 2-out trouble, first and third with back-to-back hits.
So here's a guy with 14 homers, 40 RBIs, leading their team in those categories, who cut down on his swing and took one the other way, even with 2 out. Trying to take advantage of that hole. Nice piece of hitting there.
And that'll bring up the Padres cleanup man, Yangervis Solarte. 9 runs in his last 11 games and a .366 average. Marte's done a nice job with runners in scoring position, hitting .278 for the year. And he hits this one a mile high, deep toward right. It is a high, towering 3-run homer.
Boy, he was excited. I mean, he was sprinting around the bases. And all this with 2 out. And just a swinging bunt that got it going. No doubter, too. That's a home run in the old configuration.
So the Padres lead 4-1, and they're doing exactly what we told you they have been doing. They are scoring a bunch of runs, and they've got 4 in their first 3 times up. An infield hit, an unselfish at bat by Kemp, and then the Solarte 3-run homer. And this one smoked up the middle by Melvin Upton, and Kelly Johnson flags that down. 3 runs, 3 hits, all of that damage coming with 2 out. We go to the 4th inning. The Padres lead 4-1. Yangervis Solarte's 4th home run. A no-doubter to right.
Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, the Georgia Lottery, and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
4-1 San Diego. Yangervis Solarte unloads with his 4th home run.
Last year against the Braves, he was 7 for 21, 2 homers, 7 driven in, and he's already hit a 3-run homer this year against him.
Padres now have hit 60 home runs as a team. Braves have to find a way to fight their way back against Christian Friedrich, who's trying to win his 3rd game. Friedrich issued a leadoff walk in the 1st that scored or led to the 1st and only Braves run. He walked Tyler Flowers to start the 2nd. Nothing came of that. D'Arnaud an infield hit in the 3rd. And now Nick Markakis in the box. He tapped out his first time up.
I will say there's a noticeable difference with these lights, these LED lights. There's kind of a glow on the field, and the Padres' white uniforms are really vibrant, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it looks great.
It's different.
Fly ball to left, Upton back, and he makes the catch on the warning track. That was well hit. Von Upton tracks it down. We've got a nice outfield. 2 center fielders in left and center, and Jay and Upton, and Kemp does a nice job in right too.
Yeah, he has played center field a lot himself.
Is this one of your favorite parks?
I like it.
Tonight wouldn't be in your top 5 though.
San Diego is.
The town, yeah. What's not to like, right?
No, I like it. It's grown on me. I love the Western Metal Supply Company down the left field line, how they incorporated that into the stadium. I think that's really cool.
balls are to strike.
I would think it would be, despite its reputation as being a pitcher's park, a good place to hit for this reason right here, and that is a great batter's eye back there.
That looks pitch black from that view behind home plate. One ball, two strikes for Tyler Flowers. And it's out of play to the left. I like the features outside the ballpark as much as in. We mentioned the downtown, all the shopping and things for fans to do. I love the grassy berm out beyond the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's neat too.
Got a high definition video screen out there so the fans can pay a nominal fee, come in and watch the game on TV. Bring their picnic blankets on a cool night. As Flowers with an opposite field hit gets things started for the Braves with one out in the fourth.
There's another good swing. 1-2 count. Tyler wasn't trying to do too much with it. He's been swinging the bat really well. And on a 1-2 count, something away, big slow curveball. He waited on it and didn't try to pull it. Nice job.
That's the Braves' third hit. And now Adonis Garcia. He popped out his first time up. And he's going to line one past Ramirez into left field. So Atlanta has him first and second now for Kelly Johnson.
Adonis was taking a lot of swings on some soft toss today in the batting cage under the stadium. And I mean working hard. We saw earlier Will Myers had some tape on his fingers, maybe from some calluses or blisters from his swings, and wouldn't surprise me if Adonis had a few of those himself. And that ball was combed.
Kelly Johnson represents the tying run. He struck out on a breaking ball his first time. And that's bounced foul to the right. Steve, rank one. Kelly couldn't check his swing.
Back-to-back starts for Kelly against left-handed starters. He was in there yesterday against Kazmir. It was 1 for 3 against him.
Ramirez bird-dogging Flowers at second. The pitch is downstairs. 1-2. Former teammates with the White Sox having some fun. Popped up. Wallace at third. Ramirez will join him. It'll be Wallace making the play. And there's the second out. Can't imagine how tough it is for Wallace to try to play third base and learn how to play it on the job
at this level.
But he handled that high pop, and now Williams Perez, the Braves pitcher, with 2 on and 2 out, will hit. He flied out to center. San Diego's coming off a series win against the Colorado Rockies. They took 2 out of 3 from Colorado. They've won 7 series. and have won or split 5 of their last 6 series in their home ballpark. They're off to a good start tonight, leading 4-1. It's Andy Green, first-year skipper in San Diego, formerly with the Diamondbacks.
Swing by Williams. Made good contact his first time up. Doesn't have a hit this year. This would be a perfect time for it.
Andy Green followed Pat Murphy, who took over for Bud Black last year. There's the 1-2 pitch. Just missed. Since 1995, managers for the Padres: Bruce Bochy, Bud Black, Dave Roberts for 1 game, Pat Murphy for 96 games, and now Andy Green. A remarkably stable franchise. Bouncing ball toward Ramirez at short, and his throw to second is going to be in time. Garcia went in hard, but he's forced out, and Atlanta's out of luck in the 4th inning. Bottom half of the frame coming up. San Diego leads at 4-1.
Is sponsored by Georgia Power and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
It is 4-1 San Diego. Beautiful view of downtown San Diego and Petco Park.
You're getting better at that all the time.
You don't know how nerve-wracking that is to say.
I know. You've come a long way.
Brett Wallace is going to lead things off. Williams Perez got a first inning run, gave it right back in the bottom half. 3 for San Diego in the 3rd, and that's where we stand. Wallace reached on a Kelly Johnson error, who's playing in short right again, and a swing and a miss. Just about all the East Coast and Central time zone action is in the books in the major leagues tonight. Cubs beat the Phillies 6-4. Mets and Pirates were rained out. Tampa Bay's beating Arizona 5-2 in the 5th, and Colorado leads the Dodgers 2-1 at Dodger Stadium. And a fly ball to left. Francoeur will come charging in, and he'll make the play for the first out. Big shootout in the Lone Star State. Texas beat Houston 6-5. The Astros have been playing great ball since George Springer moved into the leadoff spot for A.J. Hinch. But they came up a run short tonight. Here's Norris.
That was a good move when Houston moved over to the American League and they put him in the same division with Texas. That made for a great intrastate rivalry.
And I think they play for a trophy between those two clubs. I think they call it the Silver Boot.
Good.
Houston got off to a slow start. As this one's rolled foul. But they've climbed to 28-31 now. They're 8 games out of first with their loss to the Rangers, who just swept Seattle to take over first place by themselves in the American League's Western Division. They are tough at home. Rangers now 22-9 on their home turf. And if you missed it, the Rangers are trying to get a new ballpark, a retractable roof stadium in Arlington. To center. Inciarte's got plenty of room. 2 out.
One of the things about Williams Perez, and I know he gave up 3 2-out hits, including the 3-run homer that really hurt. But he's kept the Braves in games even when he hasn't had his best stuff. And an example of that is the Braves have 16 wins. And 7 of them have come in games he started.
Two outs for Alexei Ramirez. And he has great confidence in that changeup he's been throwing. He's thrown a few dandies tonight.
He's got a great motion on it. It's very deceiving. He's got a good fastball tonight that keeps the hitters honest and makes them get out on their front foot a little bit and swing at that changeup. But he made a mistake with a breaking ball to Solarte, one that stayed up. And he smacked it.
And into center field, Ramirez has a 2-out hit, and at the very least, the Padres will clear their pitcher. That's 5 hits for the Padres tonight. And there's Friedrich, who struck out his first time. That's right, throws left, no elbow guard.
Williams pitched well against the Padres last year. In 2 starts, he was 1-1 with a 2.70 ERA, but one of the starts was outstanding. He only gave up 1 unearned run for the win. That was quick.
It was quick. He surrenders a 2-out hit, and this game heads to the 5th inning with the top of the orders coming up.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Top of the fifth, 4-1 San Diego. Chip and Joe with you on our second stop out west. Kelsey Wingert down amongst them here at Petco. Ender Inciarte ready to go with his third plate appearance in the game. He's walked, scored, and he has struck out looking.
Brett Wallace, I was talking about challenging him earlier. He's in on the grass. I'd still think about it.
Myers even with the bag at first. Wallace in on the grass, and that one's laced out of play. And a fan from San Clemente, California, will chase down the souvenir.
Well, that's pretty. Drove right by there today.
Isn't that the most remarkable drive coming from Los Angeles to San Diego?
San Juan Capistrano and San Clemente is just beautiful.
And they're hanging tough, a ball and 2 strikes. Got to get him going. Ender has 8 hits in his last 46 at bats. Wallace at third. Tricky spin. He stayed with it. And he throws a low strike to Myers at first.
Boy, that was a short arm BB over there.
I wonder if he was a catcher somewhere along the way. That kind of looked like a catcher's throw from the ear.
It looked like a guy who's played first base all his life who hadn't had to stretch his arm out to me. But it worked.
And he got the leadoff man, Ender Inciarte. Here's d'Arnaud. The Braves have 4 hits. Chase has 2 of them. Right now, the Braves have 2 hot hitters in their lineup, d'Arnaud and Jeff Francoeur. After that, it is a real struggle. And Jeff is lurking behind Freddie Freeman.
These guys work and work offensively on their swings and trying to get things right. And I was talking to Mark Lemke tonight quite a bit, who's here doing radio with Jim Powell. And we were talking about when Mark was playing, for example, and how many swings you might take a day versus how many they're taking these days. And he said, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys weren't taking, you know, 400 or 500 swings a day, whether it's soft toss or regular batting practice. And you know, how much is too much? There's the Limmer over there with Jim. Always great to have him with us on the trip.
And straightened up Chase and missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Mark was talking about how, you know, he remembers some guys saying, you know what, I don't want swings today. You know, as the summer's going along, you can have my swings. You can hit my group during regular batting practice. But with the creation, I'll say, of these elaborate indoor hitting cages for both the home side and now the visiting side in every ballpark, it's an all-day affair. Greg Walker, Scott Fletcher, and now Kevin Seitzer and Jose Castro, they just work all day with anybody that wants to hit.
Swing and a miss by d'Arnaud. Norris will throw him out at first. Chase's perfect night at the plate is over. He's 2 for 3. And there are 2 outs. 5 strikeouts now for Friedrich. Once again, Freddie Freeman is up. He has struck out and he has flied out.
I remember reading a comment from Lee Trevino one time, and he was talking about going to the driving range to practice, and he said, if I hit 10 or 15 balls and I hit 10 or 15 of them pretty good, I quit, because the longer you stick around, the more apt you are to create a bad habit.
Yeah, the old finish with a good one philosophy.
Yeah, I thought that was very relevant to baseball too. If you're swinging good, get a few swings to loosen up, take it to the house.
He is seeing a steady diet of sliders, curveballs, pitches away from him. And he's behind 1-2. Friedrich has matched his season high in strikeouts with 5. That one's rolled foul past Eddie Perez.
See how he had to reach and roll over with his left hand. All of his weight was back, like almost toward the Padres dugout. There's nothing that would give you an indication that he's trying to guard the plate, hit the ball the other way, drive it to left center. And look what Norris did. He just went a little bit farther out where he couldn't reach it.
So Freddie is strikeout victim number 6, and the Padres maintain their lead.
To the bottom of the 5th, and Williams Perez on the mound for Atlanta. He was just sent down to Gwinnett earlier in the season, and we spoke to Brian Snitker earlier. He said that while he was there, he worked on something with his delivery, and since he's came back, he's seen that aggression. He's found the strike zone more. Last season, he was really pitching for contact and commanded his pitches better, and that's what he struggled with before he was sent down, and now that he's back, he's seen the old Williams Perez coming back out for the Braves.
Well, you're right, Kelsey, and his last start in the minor leagues on May the 6th was a perfect indication that that work paid off. He had a 9-inning, 1-hit shutout against Charlotte through 112 pitches. As this one to John Jay is lifted toward left for the first out. And then Perez came back to Atlanta on May 11th and beat the Phillies 5-1, 8 innings of 2-hit, 1-run ball, and he's pitched more like that and more consistently like that than I think at any time in his major league career.
That's why I think every time he pitches, he gives the Braves a chance to win, and how he's in many ways kind of the underrated hidden guy, you know, in the rotation. We talk a lot about the younger guys, Whistler in particular. But Williams Perez is only 25.
And he's given the Braves some valuable innings tonight. One pitch he wishes he had back was the home run to Solarte that went deep into the night into the seats in right field. And the third inning rally started with a 2-out infield hit by this man, Wil Myers, that just dribbled down the third base line. There was no play that anyone could make on that. Kemp followed with an opposite field single, and then Solarte went into launch mode. That's bounced into the Braves dugout, foul, and the count to Myers is 2-2.
Happy camper right there. Smile. I don't think that'll be a problem.
No. Well, they love their Padres here, don't they? You walk around downtown, they've got the shirts, the caps. I mean, everybody's wearing Padres gear. All the restaurants have placards and banners.
They love their teams. They're very loyal to their Chargers too. You know, hoping they don't leave town.
That's right off the end of the bat. Long run and a kick save and a beauty by Kelly Johnson. And Myers is aboard with a 1-out hit.
Myers is cue balling pitches all over the ballpark tonight. Swinging bunt on the third base line, and then that hockey puck going the other way.
The closest I've ever seen to a play like that was when Paul O'Neill kicked the ball in right field for the Reds, I think.
When he couldn't pick it up.
Yeah. He got so mad he just couldn't do anything. And even Kelly's laughing.
Chase Darno is cracking up.
Oh boy. Here's Kemp. Better at first and 1 out. I was talking to Chase before the game. He really is an interesting character, and yesterday Vin Scully picked it up on the Dodgers broadcast. When John Gant was in the game, Darno was mimicking his delivery while he was standing at second base with a double leg kick. And that's foul away when no balls and a strike. Myers draws another throw. As Joe said, he's not afraid to try to steal a base. He's 6 out of 7. The Padres have stolen 36 bases this year. It's 0-2. Kempson, Oklahoma man.
Midwest City, Oklahoma. Great basketball player too. Was on a great team.
Was he?
State championship team. Yeah.
Originally a 2003 pick by the Dodgers when Dan Evans was their general manager. And in 2011, a gigantic year for LA. Led the league in homers and RBIs with 39 and 126 and hit .324.
And played half his games at Dodger Stadium. Did not win the MVP. Brian Braun. Me too. I was thinking that.
All the way to the screen, and look at that thing roll on top of the signage. Myers a big turnaround second. Will stop there. And one more note on Kemp that year. He also stole 40 bases.
Is that right?
So he was a homer shy of a 40-40 year.
Just rolling around the top of the padding. Now that's a sensational year.
That year allowed Kemp to be the 7th player in Major League history to finish the year ranked in the top 3 in homers, average, RBIs, and steals. And this one is hammered deep toward left. Francoeur on the run, can't get it. That'll bounce off the track and up against the wall. Myers will score. Kemp has a double, and the Padres extend their lead to 5-1.
Myers with 2 just little cheap hits has led to a lot of runs tonight for San Diego. Another breaking ball. It was up in his eyes. 41 driven in for Kemp.
And now Jeff Porter's on his way to the mound to talk to Williams Perez. That breaking ball hung, and I wonder if Williams did something to himself.
Yeah, it didn't do anything.
So that's going to be the end of the line for Williams Perez. So after throwing a pitch to Matt Kemp, Williams Perez signaled for Jeff Porter to come out to the center of the diamond, and there's some physical problem with Williams Perez, and when we get word as to what that is, we'll let you know. Certainly not good news on a night where the Padres lead 5-1.
With an injury of some sort, and as he was standing on the mound, he was pointing to an area on Jeff Porter in his rib cage, or in his armpit, but it looks more like a rib cage. I'm wondering if it might be a strained oblique, but that area he's pointing was kind of high.
Well, if that's the case, that's just a crying shame, as well as Williams Perez has been pitching. So it's Casey Kelly, the former Padre. Remember, Casey came on and pitched so courageously on May 25th, a 4-inning relief stint in that 13-inning game that the Braves dropped back at Turner Field. And because he threw so many pitches in that game, Kelly wasn't able to make a scheduled start, which was, I think, a day or two later.
Yeah.
He had to go back to Gwinnett, get rested up, spent some time with the G Braves, and now here he is back again with a chance to pitch in on relief for another time for Atlanta and facing his former club.
Well, he earned himself more work based on that effort against Milwaukee. He was outstanding despite taking the loss. He was great. But there is a rule that, and I'm not sure how it applies to Casey, if it does, that if you get sent back, you can't come back for 10 days unless there's an injury. So once he was sent back, that was going to be a fact he had to deal with. And made a start at Durham on June 2nd and went 7 innings, gave up 3 runs, and didn't walk anybody.
Yeah, and you're right. He was sent down May 26th. There we are. It's June 6th. So eligible to be back, and he's facing the Padres for the first time. He was the man the Braves got in the deal for Christian Bethancourt. And he's on to try to put out a 5th inning fire with Yangervis Solarte up there. Solarte, a 3-run homer in his last at bat. And are the Braves going to appeal at second base that Myers missed the bag? I guess so. And that appeal is denied.
Wait a minute. It's too late for that. He was already at second base on the wild pitch.
I'm not sure what that was all about.
I'm not sure either.
That one is going to be safe on the infield. Solarte is aboard. And the hits just keep coming for the Padres. That's 3 in a row and 2 for Solarte tonight.
Well, 2 for Myers, 2 for Myers, 2 for Kemp, 2 for Solarte. In the 3rd and 5th innings, they're the guys that parlayed it all together. Casey can defend himself there. First guy he faces back.
So 1st and 3rd. Here's Upton. Melvin's 0 for 2. He's popped out and grounded out. And that was high and tight. Upton did something you seldom see. He had a straight steal of home here Friday night. .285 career stolen bases for Melvin Upton. And that's check, swing, strike. And we all know how badly Melvin, then B.J. Upton, struggled as a Brave. He's a better player than he showed in an Atlanta uniform, and I think that's being shown here in San Diego this year.
Yeah, he got off to a start that make you think about 2011, 2012 when he was with Tampa Bay and having 2020 type seasons. That never surfaced in Atlanta, unfortunately.
But a fresh start here with the Padres. But swinging a cold bat. He's 0 for his last 13. And has an RBI shot here with Kemp 90 feet away. Solarte at first. The pitch from Kelly. Slowly hit towards short. Darno will go to second. That's all Atlanta will get. Upton gets an RBI as Kemp scores. That run belongs to Williams Perez. It's now a 6-1 game. 24 RBIs for Upton. Most RBIs Upton had with the Braves was 35. So charged 6 runs to Williams Perez. Wallace the batter. He's 0 for 2. And And he bounces this one to the right side. Freeman's got it. He'll throw to second. And that retires the side. Williams Perez knocked out because of injury. Casey Kelly on in relief, and the Padres add 2 more. Cubs hit the road after an 8-2 homestand, and they just keep rolling. They've got their 40th win, the first team in the major leagues to 40 victories this year. And we will see the Cubs when we get back home. Work to be done tonight as we hit the 6th. 6-1 San Diego. Friedrich has a big lead. And the first man he faces, Jeff Francoeur, who's 0 for 2 with an RBI. That's popped out of play, foul. The Braves trying to avoid an 11th consecutive loss in San Diego. Jeff now with 16 runs batted in. And a ground ball toward Ramirez. It's short. His throw right on the money. Here's out number 1. Nick Markakis is 0 for 2.
There's a note, as there always is in the Braves media notes, about the breakdown, the Braves breakdown with respect to home, road, right-handed pitching, left-handed pitching. It's a long column. Team, what the team's record is when they lead after 7, after 8, etc. And one thing today that stuck out for me was what the team's record is when they score 3 or fewer runs. And their record when they score 3 or fewer runs is 3-31.
Solarte at second. Markakis busting down the line, but he's the second out.
I mean, that grabs your attention, of course, 3-31. But what struck me was that that's 34 games out of 56 that they had played coming into this game. That's 61% of your games where you're scoring 3 or fewer, and what a hardship it is on your pitching staff. And we talk about that all the time, about the Braves trying to score runs early, give their pitchers a breather, give them some room to make a mistake or two. But over 60% of the time they score 3 or less, and man, is that tough. To win.
Yeah, Braves dead last in the National League in runs scored, as they were last year. Atlanta now with 175 runs. The Phillies at 14th have scored 184 coming into play tonight. Those are the only two teams in the National League that have scored fewer than 200 runs. The Mets are at 207. The Cardinals have scored more runs than any National League team. They've scored 307 runs, 100 more than the Mets.
And how many more than the Braves? You say 175?
The Braves have scored 175 now. The Cardinals at 307. That's ripped to the left side.
Another good swing by Tyler.
Who's walked and singled tonight. We talked about it in LA when the Braves have hit. At times they haven't pitched or they haven't caught the ball. There have been so few games where all three fundamental elements have been working together. The Braves have been in a great number of these 40 losses, but moral victories unfortunately don't count for much. You love the development, you love what the young starters are doing, but they've been woefully under-supported at the plate. And strike three to Flowers, and Friedrich has a 1-2-3 sixth inning. He is rolling along. Told you he gets tougher after the first. That's been true tonight. He's got a 5-run lead. First 20,000 guests at Turner Field Thursday, June 23rd, when the Mets are in town. You'll receive a Nick Markakis bobblehead presented by Delta Airlines. Get your tickets today at Braves.com. We have two more left with the Padres. We have an open date on June 9th, and the Braves are home for a brief homestand. 7 games with the Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds.
4 with Chicago, right?
It is 3 with the Cubs, 4 with the Reds.
Okay.
In fact, the Braves will be home a lot after this Western trip. Got the Cubs, the Reds, then we go to New York and Miami, a brief 5-game trip. Then the Mets, the Indians, and the Marlins come in. That's an 11-game homestand that takes us up to the 4th of July. Oh yeah, I should say it's a 10-game homestand because the July 3rd game will be the Fort Bragg game between the Braves and Marlins. That'll be an ESPN telecast, and then we will join you on the 4th up in Philly. That'll be fun. As Derek Norris leads off inning number 6. That's out of play, foul, and a second strike to the Padre catcher.
I like Casey Kelly. Throws strikes, gets after hitters, and he's got a good curveball.
That's fouled past third.
Where Glenn Hoffman still coaches third for the Padres. They retained several other coaches despite the managerial changes. Darren Balsley still the pitching coach.
There should always be a Hoffman in a San Diego uniform, don't you think?
Yeah.
As that one's ripped into left field for a hit by Morris. And I'll bring up Trevor Hoffman for a reason. He made history on this date. Back in 2007 was the first man to 500 saves. And his numbers retired here by the Padres, and justifiably so. A terrific relief pitcher with something that sounds impossible to say, but he had a devastating changeup.
Yeah, and add to that, every time they started playing Hell's Bells as his entry music, this place would go crazy.
It was awesome. Alexi Ramirez is the batter. Back in a previous life when I was working for Big Fox, we were hosting the pregame show for the World Series when the Yankees played at the old ballpark. And Hoffman didn't really have any save situations in that fall classic, so he came in to pitch, and Hell's Bells played at the old stadium. As the runner goes, swing and a miss. Flowers' throw is off target. And it's a swipe for Morris, his first of the year. The catcher gets into the stolen base act. And standing under the stadium at the multi-purpose Jack Murphy Stadium, the seats were on rollers. As they could reconfigure things for football stadium. You could see the tires actually deflating because the stands were bouncing from the people screaming and rocking and rolling when Hell's Bells was playing. He was a great pitcher who learned how to compensate for the loss of a big fastball, and just a perfect prototypical guy to pitch here in San Diego. Looked like he came right off the set of Baywatch, put the surfboard away, and came in and saved you the game.
He did indeed, and had that big high leg kick too that kind of made his changeup that much more effective. Good stuff here. They had a really good team that year that got to the World Series. It's unfortunate how it turned out for them, but in those years where they had Tony Gwynn kind of anchoring their ball club, had some good players come through here.
A little roller out to second by the pitcher, runner to third, 2 outs.
That Kevin Brown, that one year that the Braves and the Padres hooked up, that might have been that same year, I guess, in the playoffs. Kevin Brown came in and pitched in relief, remember, to try to close a game out, and the Braves knocked him around. Like Michael Tucker had a big home run off of it.
And look at what the Padres have done. How quintessentially San Diego is that? Retired numbers are on surfboards. Steve Garvey, Randy Jones, Dave Winfield, who was drafted as a #1 pick in 3 sports, by the way. And there are a couple of Padres that I really miss when we come out here. Tony Gwynn is one of them, taken far too soon. And Joe, as you said, on this anniversary of D-Day, we would be remiss if we didn't remember a true American hero, longtime voice of the Padres, the great Jerry Coleman.
Absolutely. Oh, doctor.
Oh, doctor. What a treat it was to see him when we came out here. And to your point about D-Day, you think of the sacrifices those so many kids made anonymously to defend freedom, and the major league players who were enlisted or chose to join and put aside their baseball careers. And it's fouled off Jay's foot. Jerry Coleman, Ted Williams, so many others.
Bob Feller.
Bob Feller. As a father of twin 16-year-olds, I can't imagine Jay would be attended to. How many kids my son's age lied about their age to stormed the beaches at Normandy. It's just heart-wrenching to think of that loss and what that sacrifice means now.
5,000 ships involved in the D-Day invasion. 13,000 aircraft. I mean, this was an invasion for the ages, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it turned the tide of the war.
Swing and a miss by Jay, who's still hobbling around at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And it seems so silly to talk about it in baseball terms, but as we mentioned earlier, this is such a huge military town.
Right.
The Padres do it right as Kelly Johnson makes a nice play at second base. So as we celebrate and honor the D-Day invasion on the 6th of June 1944, we go to the 7th. At Turner Field on Saturday, June 11th, it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. After the Braves and Cubs play at 4 o'clock, it'll be a perfect ending to an exciting afternoon at the ballpark. Find out more at Braves.com/movie.
That was such a fun movie.
There are a zillion great lines in it.
Yeah, at least.
How about when Ferris Bueller. No, he's in the restaurant ordering with the very snobby maitre d' giving him grief, and he just looks at Ferris Bueller and says, "I weep for our future." That was great. And if I remember correctly, the scene from Wrigley Field had the Braves playing the Cubs.
I don't remember that
in the game. Garcia bouncing ball toward Wallace. Long throw, and Myers kept the bag. There's the first out here in the 7th inning. How about Friedrich? He set down 9 straight, and he struck out a season high 7 as the Braves' struggles against lefties have continued.
Well, again, he's only making his 5th start. He was signed to a minor league contract on March 3rd after being designated for assignment and released by the Rockies before the start of spring training. But he started the year on the DL, made a couple of starts in A-ball, then a couple of starts at El Paso for the Chihuahuas before he was called up.
That went right back where it came from. That's a solid hit for Kelly Johnson, and that woke Friedrich up. He'll go back to the stretch for the first time since inning number 4.
Right by his nose. Gout.
And Brandon Snyder's going to come on and pinch hit in the 7th. Boy, what a thrill for Brandon Snyder yesterday in Los Angeles. First big league home run in a couple of years. And now another chance to draw the Braves ever closer in a 6-1 game. Chris Withrow will be next out of the chute for Atlanta. Kelly went an inning and 2/3 in relief. Gave up a couple of hits. And no runs. One ball, one strike. 97 pitches for the San Diego lefty. I'll bet Andy Green would be thrilled if he can get him through 7 with no drama.
Well, they've done tonight what they've been doing. Over the last 12 games, averaging 5.8 runs per game, 6 runs a game. They've done it again tonight. And they've gotten some pitching to go with it.
That's down and in. For Brandon Snyder, who's played with Baltimore, Texas, and the Red Sox. And now with the Braves. 2-2. Do it again. Cleveland's beating Seattle 3-1. That game's in the 8th. Told you Texas beat Houston. If the Astros want to win the AL West, they've got to find a way to beat the Rangers. They're 0-7 against them this year. Mets and Pirates rained out. Cubs beat the Phillies 6-4. That's who we'll see in Atlanta at the end of the week. Pitch. Driven to right. Kemp retreats. And Matt makes the play. 2 outs. And Inciarte is up for the 4th time. Four lefties in the Atlanta lineup tonight are 1 for 11. That hit from Kelly Johnson. Inciarte 0 for 2. He walked to start the game and scored on Jeff Francoeur's ground out. Friedrich's career high in innings is 7. He's an out away from equaling that. His high in pitches is 116. He's about to throw number 105.
Well, after the first inning, he's not had a whole lot of stress.
Nope. It's the old saying, if you don't get them early, you might not get them at all.
It's pretty much what those numbers told us early on.
And now the 2-2 pitch is high. He can survive the first. Look at what he does after that. He's scattered 4 hits after the opening inning. He's had 5 base runners over the last 6 frames. The pitch is out of play. And Kelly Johnson's back to first.
His first win against Arizona, at Arizona, 7 innings, a 3-hit shutout ball, and he won that game 10-3. His last start against Seattle, he went 5 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, and he won that game 14-6. And he had 6 to work with tonight.
There's an opposite field hit by Inciarte. And that keeps the inning alive. Andy Green has some pondering to do as d'Arnaud is the Atlanta hitter. And that is, I believe, going to be the last pitch of the night thrown by the Padres left-hander. But Friedrich did a heck of a job tonight. A run on 6 hits. And he will depart with a big 7th inning lead, and this big crowd at Petco will give him a well-deserved ovation. Came in with a sparkling 2.5 ERA. He's going to leave with an ERA a lot lower than that after his work tonight.
Really had the left-handers fishing a lot tonight. A couple of right-handers too. A couple of hot right-handers able to get them. Francoeur and d'Arnaud.
So Carlos Villanueva checks in for San Diego. Villanueva's working on a 5-inning scoreless streak.
Fastball at 87-90. Slider, change, curve. Only 5 walks in 33 innings. Very impressive.
He worked 3 innings in the Padres' 17-inning game that they played with the Dodgers last Sunday. Got a 6-1 advantage now, and d'Arnaud digs in, and that's off the plate. Villanueva's first big league action came with the Brewers. And a base hit greets him. d'Arnaud's had a big night. That's his 3rd hit. That's going to score Kelly Johnson. Inciarte around to third, and with that base hit, d'Arnaud makes it a 6-2 game. Have yourself a night in Southern Cal. Chase.
And he did pretty well in LA as well, in front of some home folks. Continues to hit the ball sharply and find some holes. Believe it or not, as far as I know, that's his first RBI.
It is. So Inciarte and Kelly have scored runs for the Braves tonight. And again, another crack at things for Freddie Freeman. Freddie's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts, but now he's got a right-handed pitcher out there. Let's see if that helps him. And a swing and a miss.
No shift.
Nothing in 2.
Swung at the pitch before that was not a strike, so they tried it again. And remember his last time up when Norris kept trying to go away, and then too far away for Freddie to reach it. That time it was like they were going the other direction. Backdoor breaking ball.
Freddie fought that one off. And that's the start of the pattern you were just talking about. Let's see if Norris goes a little further outside, as he's got a couple of pitches to play with here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Coming in. And Freeman rolled that foul. Norris did a nice job behind the plate of not giving away location by setting up too soon. He didn't begin to move inside until Villanueva was into his delivery. Not close. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Freddie can just stay back, keep from shifting his weight forward too quickly and let his hands work. Trust his hands. Might be able to do some damage here.
In the dirt. Full count. One thing we know is the Padres can give up big leads. They had that disastrous game against Seattle just a little while back. And if Freeman can reach, that would bring the tying run to the plate. There are, however, 2 outs in the inning. So d'Arnaud at first will get a head start. Myers plays behind him. And Freeman awaits the payoff pitch. And a swing and miss. A 3-strikeout night for Freddie Freeman. 6-2 is your score at the stretch.
personal favorite part of the game when I go to all the different ballparks and find food, and this was my favorite. It's called the Baked Bear. It's an ice cream sandwich, but the best part, there's 4 different kinds of cookies. You choose what cookie you want to be the sandwich of it, and then you choose your ice cream flavor. So I went with confetti and vanilla ice cream. They also had snickerdoodle, cookies and cream, and I think chocolate cookie, but this was the best so far, guys.
Leave it to you to just taunt us.
Yeah.
I already took a bite. that half inning was too long, and I just couldn't wait anymore. But it was pretty stressful having to choose the cookie because they were all phenomenal options. But it's such a cool concept. It was actually started here in San Diego. It's 2 local owners, and they now have 5 locations, including the one here in Petco Park. But
That's a great idea.
I know. I think it's incredible.
That's cruel and unusual punishment. That's what that is.
Do you want some?
You know it.
Bring it. Now,
I'll just throw it.
have you been to San Diego before?
I have not.
Now, you know the best concession food item here and a specialty of this town are the fish tacos.
Yeah, and tomorrow's Taco Tuesday.
Oh, perfect. You've got it all covered.
She's way.
She is on
way
top
out
of it.
front.
Don't test me, guys. I'm ready.
All right. Look forward to that, Kelsey. Thank you very much. As Chris Withrow goes to work in the San Diego 7th.
16th game for Chris. Worked an inning in a third 2 days ago in Los Angeles. Had a good outing. No hits or runs, a walk, a strikeout. I think I said at that time that I think he's getting better every time out. Trusting his elbow is okay. And his results are showing.
That's something else you said too, that trust factor is as big a part as the velocity and location and all that other stuff, the mental side of coming back from Tommy John surgery. That was at the lower deck on a ricochet. Myers with a 1-2 count now. Myers has 2 hits. They weren't hit hard, but boy, they were big hits. Back in the 3rd inning with 2 outs against Williams Perez. A little dribbler down the 3rd base line kept the inning alive. Kemp followed with a hit, and then Solarte a 3-run homer. And then Myers, in his last at bat, singled ahead of Kemp's run-scoring double. And Withrow just missed at 93 miles an hour. 2-2.
Well, that was quick reactions by the ball boy over there on the Braves side.
Somebody's giving him a hard time for dropping that with a bare hand.
I think him jumping out of that seat.
To 3rd. That stayed down for Adonis. And a high throw. Freeman applied the tag. Every now and then Adonis gets into a stretch where he starts to airmail the bag at first. He threw one into the stands in LA. Freddie came down and applied the tag to the back of Myers, it appeared. That's a dangerous play for a first baseman, but Freddie made it. 1 out.
Never hurts to have a 6'5" first baseman who can jump.
Padres have to be happy that Matt Kemp has heated up tonight. He's 2 for 2, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. Kemp had a rough month of May. He hit 186 and struck out 32 times in 118 at bats.
Ted Barrett got nailed there, and I don't know if it was a foul ball or if it was actually just a miss. Ted Barrett, the biggest umpire on the planet. Okay, I believe he was a Golden Gloves boxer or something too.
balls and a strike.
Pitch before. Yeah, it was a foul tip, and then like it might have caught that throat guard too that helped off the chest protector.
Thanks Steve Yeager for that device, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Ted Barrett's had a terrific career. He's 50 years old. He's the only major league umpire to have worked home plate for 2 perfect games. Play foul. And you're right about Ted Barrett. He earned his degree in kinesiology at Cal State Hayward, and he was the captain of the football team. He was an amateur boxer.
His throat guard may have taken a hit. Looks like it's just hanging by one strap at the moment.
One ball, 2 strikes. And up and into Kemp. Well, that straightened him up.
They wanted it up. Flowers has a high target to see if he'd chase, but it ran up and under his arms.
Strike 3 on a pretty pitch.
Well, is that a good one?
What a sequence. Up and in to straighten up Kemp, and then the outside corner wide open, and he buried it.
That was a beauty.
Anyway, Chris, 2 up, 2 down. Here's Solarte. He's got a 2-hit game. That's really the difference tonight. Padres, Jay, Myers, Kemp, and Solarte have 7 hits, and they've scored every Padre run. Top 2 hitters for the Braves have combined for 4 hits. All of those hits singles.
3 by d'Arnaud.
He is letting it loose.
Not too many teams in the big leagues have their second baseman hitting cleanup.
We will do it again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Game 2 is tomorrow night. Aaron Blair for the Braves. Colin Ray for San Diego. Braves live at 9:30 Eastern Time. First pitch at 10:10. Broken bat pop. d'Arnaud drifts out, says he's got it, and he does, and Withrow works a very impressive home 7. 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout and a broken bat. Middle of the order up for the Braves as we go to the 8th. You know where we are. Francoeur, Markakis, and Flowers are coming up. It's a 6-2 game. Jeff Francoeur has an RBI tonight. He's our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. Look at what Jeff has done lately.
Well, there's 3s in front of all of those numbers except the bottom line, and it's a 4 in front of that. So I would say that's all pretty good.
A swing and a miss. 16 RBIs for Jeff on the year. Villanueva out for his first full inning now. And he just missed. Beautiful night in San Diego. Our first and only trip here to the home of the Padres as Jim Johnson gets ready for the bottom of the inning, it appears. Got a nice vocal crowd here tonight. As Jeff didn't get that. 2-2. Best seats in the house might be atop the Western Metal Supply building. Down the left field line.
Got a little party out there.
Yeah. Got the palm trees up there. And a bird's eye view. That's the unique architectural feature here at Petco. And a slow roller. Ramirez charging. Tough play with the bare hand. He'll put it in his pocket, and Francoeur has an infield hit.
You'll take that.
Yep. Put it in play. Something good might happen.
Yeah. Starting the inning. 4-run ball game. You never know.
Jeff down the line in good shape. He's at first. And here's Nick Markakis. Nick is 0 for 3 tonight. 2 ground outs and a fly out to left. Braves have 8 hits now in the game. And Nick took a strike. That one is lined softly to short. Right off the end of the bat. And Ramirez drifted back and handled that cleanly for the first out.
The All-Star game is here, right?
Yes.
Why is there not? Am I missing some of the? I mean, most ballparks we go to that are hosting the All-Star game have big logo or something about it. Is it up above us? Oh, there's one on their light standard. Okay.
Swing and a miss by Flowers. That'll be one heck of a trip for the All-Star game. 4 days in the middle of the summer in San Diego. Life's tough. And we know the Padres will put on a great show. Braves will wrap up the first half of the season in Chicago. We've got to play the Cubs in a makeup game at Wrigley Field, then 3 with the White Sox. And then Atlanta home for just 3 games right after the break with the Colorado Rockies before we hit the road again. No balls, 2 strikes. A lot's been made in the last couple of days about Madison Bumgarner after he hit another home run against the Braves. Bumgarner says he'd like to participate in the home run derby. Bruce Bochy intimated, said, hey, man, I think he could win it, but we ain't going to let him do it.
Yeah, I think Bruce Bochy put the kibosh on that. He put the kibosh on that.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And a pretty pitch froze Tyler Flowers. Second strikeout for Villanueva.
Guy behind the plate, Derek Norris, is not, I don't think, considered a household name among catchers in the big leagues, but he's really good. And checking his numbers out on stolen base, on catching base stealers. Last year, 38 caught stealings. That was the most in one season by a catcher since our old pal Gerald Laird in 09.
Real G money, huh? Fly ball center. Jay is going to track that down at the edge of the track. Adonis Garcia flies out. Francoeur left stranded at first, and we head to the bottom of the 8th and talk more about Derek Norris when we come back. San Diego after an off day on Thursday. The Battlin' Cubbies come to town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got Friday night fireworks for you. Ferris Bueller's Day Off after the game on Saturday afternoon, and kids run the bases on Sunday. Good seats are available. Hope you'll join us. Drown out what will be a large contingent of Cubs fans at Turner Field. Get your tickets at Braves.com. Sing along time.
There we go. Get it.
Backstreet Boys, the selected song tonight, as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, as Jim Johnson's going to come on and pitch. You were talking about Derek Norris as we look at Jim's numbers and what a good player he is and how valuable he is. If the Padres decide to start making some moves at the deadline, with the lack of quality catching, or let me bring it back, with the lack of catching in the major leagues,
yes,
I would imagine he would bring a very hefty return.
I would think so.
As we mentioned, they have Christian Bethancourt on their roster too.
It'll be interesting. They've already made a deal to unload Shields, or some of Shields' contract. They had to eat a lot of it to move him to the White Sox. But I think that's kind of where I was headed earlier, that the disappointment for the Padres fans is that they thought they were on the cusp of really competing. They had set themselves up to compete this year. So I don't know if that move with Shields is the first of many to come, that they are already waving a white flag. We'll see.
No balls, 2 strikes for Melvin Upton, who has an RBI but is hitless in the game. Well, I guarantee you the comments of Ron Fowler, their chairman, got everybody's attention, didn't they?
Yes.
Talked about how embarrassed he was and disappointed he was in what the Padres have done this year. And then he followed that up by, as you said, swallowing a whole lot of money to get James Shields out of San Diego.
Yes.
And Upton's down on strikes. Jim Johnson's off to a good start of the 8th inning. Hope you'll stay up late with us tonight for Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. Andre Aldridge and is it Nick Green tonight?
That's Brian Jordan.
No, we'll just call him Nick anyway.
Nick at night.
Nick at night.
Yeah. No, I saw a couple of pictures of Brian in the hall, in the concourse outside the press box in Los Angeles. They had a display from a famous photographer in Los Angeles whose name escapes me, but had a lot of wonderful action shots of Dodgers players through the years, and there were a couple of great pictures of Brian when he was with LA.
A launch job by Wallace toward left. Francoeur is going to watch that one bounce into the stands. Wallace with a line drive missile to left for a ground rule double.
What I remember about Wallace when he was with the Astros is this pitch location. This is where he does his damage, down and in. He'll give way to a pinch runner, but got that ball down in his wheelhouse and where he can drop the barrel on it. Hit that one hard.
Yeah, that's a swing that's honed by aiming at the Crawford boxes, I would think.
Probably.
So he'll give way to Alexi Amarista, who's on as a pinch runner. And here again is the catcher, Derek Norris, who's 1 for 3 with a stolen base. 6-2 San Diego. The Padres have 10 hits.
New York Yankees took a blow with Mark Teixeira going down. He may be out for a long time.
I think the Yankees are going to be a fascinating team to watch at the deadline with all their older players. A-Rod and Brian McCann and Carlos Beltran. But they have 3 extremely valuable commodities in their bullpen with Chapman, Miller, and Betances. What does New York do in an attempt to get younger? They won tonight. They beat the Angels 5-2. But the Yankees are in 4th place. As the runner goes, it's a base hit to center. Amarista can crawl home. Norris has his 2nd hit. And he's going to reach second standing up. And the Padres now have a 7-2 lead. It's double all the way. Great sliding play by Inciarte, but that effort for naught. Back-to-back doubles off Jim Johnson. And the Padres, who lead the league in Alexis, have their 2nd one up there. Well, when you're last place, Joe, you want to lead something, don't you?
You want to put it out there that you got something going for you.
I'm digging as deep as I can.
I know. Boy, you're piling it on,
in
too.
A 7-2 game. Thanks a lot. nothing in one. And a bounding ball. Hey, the draft's coming up on Thursday. Everybody's excited about that, the amateur draft. Hello, everybody. Anyway, big day in Braves history took place on this day in 1978 in the amateur draft. Braves drafted Bob Horner, #1 overall, and he went straight from the campus of Arizona State to the big leagues. And a liner to third. Nice play by Garcia. Then it takes away a hit for Ramirez. And there's the second out.
I'm not 100% on this, but see if you remember. Horner got drafted first, went straight to the big leagues, right?
Yes.
He had a teammate at Arizona State, Hubie Brooks,
Yeah.
who also got picked in the first round by the Mets, and I want to say he went straight to the big leagues, but he may have had to spend a little bit of time in the minor leagues before he got called up. Pretty impressive off one college team.
Yeah, you wonder how Arizona State ever lost a game.
Right.
Right? And I don't know if Bob's watching the game tonight. He was one of my favorite Braves as a kid. You talk about a short, compact, powerful swing. I mean, he was a lot of fun to watch.
If it weren't for wrist injuries and hand injuries, no telling what he might have piled up home run wise, because it was a great swing.
Bob Horner did something in a game that didn't impact what happened on the field per se. The Braves and Padres had one of the worst fights in Major League history.
Yeah, it wasn't just one.
It was the day Pascual Perez pitched in '84, I think it was, at Old Fulton County Stadium on my dad's birthday. And Pascual Perez hit some guy, and the Padres wanted blood. And it was a beanball war. John McSherry was trying to break guys up. Champ Summers and Kurt Bavacqua, they were going into the stands. Fans were dumping beer on him. Well, Bob Horner was hurt. He had had surgery on his wrist. He broke the navicular bone, that little bone at the top of the wrist. He couldn't play. And all kinds of chaos was breaking loose. And Bob Horner came out of the stands in his blue jeans, put on his uniform top, and stood at the top step of the dugout as if to say enough's enough. And that kind of put a capper on the events of that day at Fulton County Stadium. I think Dick Williams was the manager.
Oh, there was hardly anybody left.
Well,
because it happened. I mean, they emptied the benches about 5 times.
Right.
When people kept getting hit or thrown at.
And they tried to hit Pascual Perez and couldn't. He just kept getting out of the way. And the Padres got madder and madder and madder. I think Donnie Moore hit someone in that game.
Well, if they could have even caught Pascual Perez on the field and got some measure of revenge, then that would have ended it too. They couldn't catch him.
Well, he just pretended the infield was 285. He just ran in circles and nobody could find him. But yeah, Bob Horner was a special player, special man. He's been to some of the alumni events in Atlanta from time to time, and hope he comes back sometime soon. He was a great part of Braves history at the old ballpark. Miss seeing him around.
Here's a little look at that.
Yep. First pitch of the game, I think it was Alan Wiggins who got hit. And there's the first attempt to get Pascual Perez. And Terry Kennedy was getting after him, and Perez had the bat to defend himself, and there's Bob Horner.
Keeping Champ Summers out of the dugout. Here come the fans.
Yep.
That was a bad move. Greg Nettles, Donnie Moore.
I mean, that was, as Gordon Solie would say, a Pier 6 brawl. Needed Tony Schiavone at the game. Deal with that wrestling match. That's back when the Braves were in the National League West. And the Braves, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Padres, along with Houston and the Reds, they had some unbelievable rivalry games. As Johnson works to Jay with an 0-2 count. And this one's popped toward third. Garcia in foul ground hauls it in. And that will retire the side. Jim Johnson gives up a run. It's the 7th of the game for the Padres. And we head to inning number 9. Live streaming sports service, and it delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. That includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.tv for details. Alexi Amarista stays in the game. He'll play second. Solarte goes to third, and former Brave Ryan Buchter is on to pitch for San Diego. This was one of the really cool stories in what was a disappointing season last year for Atlanta. Ryan Buchter had pitched in something like 330 minor league games before he got a chance to come to the big leagues. He pitched in one game for Atlanta in his major league debut against the Nationals. Pitched an inning and got the win. And now here he is with the Padres, where he's also picked up a win in 27 games.
Low 90s fastball, slider. May have found a home here.
You bet. A 33rd round pick by the Nationals in 2005. It took him 9 years to get to the major leagues. 3 years at AA, 3 years at AAA. Obviously figured some stuff out, because last year in 43 games, 50 innings, he gave up 10 runs. And he just got Kelly Johnson. And the big Friars going to start ringing the bell with each out in the 9th inning as they lead 7-2.
About ready to find a place that's got a deep fryer.
A.J. Pierzynski is going to hit for Johnson. Braves Live, presented by Xfinity, is going to be coming up shortly. Game 1 of our 3-game set with the Padres. That is in deep trouble, trying to avoid an 11th straight loss in San Diego. If the Padres get 2 more outs, this will be their all-time longest winning streak against one opponent. They'd also beaten the Diamondbacks 10 consecutive games in 2004 and 2005. And that's popped up. Shift is on from one former White Sox to another. Ramirez makes the play. 2 outs. Time for our Toyota key play of the game. It came in inning number 3.
Breaking ball that stayed up from Williams Perez, and Solarte deposited it deep into the right field seats. All that with 2 outs. There was a swinging bunt hit by Myers. Opposite field hit by Kemp, and a homer.
And we did get word on Williams Perez right triceps soreness.
Not rib cage. Okay.
Here's the word from the Braves clubhouse. As Inciarte versus Buchter with 2 outs in the 9th. And that one's ripped into right center field. So maybe Inciarte's bat's coming to life. He's on his way to second, and he's got a double. He's got 2 hits in his last 2 tries and reaches base for a 3rd time tonight.
Really good sign. Line drives. No pop outs tonight. Chance for another hit for Chase Darno, who's already got 3 tonight.
Chase better leave tickets for his dad and grandpa again tomorrow after his good work at the plate tonight. Swing and a miss. And now San Diego's a strike away. The Braves ran into another San Diego offensive buzzsaw tonight. Padres have 7 runs on 11 hits. And that's going to do it. Buchter with his second strikeout ends the game. The Padres win game 1, their 11th straight over Atlanta. Final score from Petco: San Diego 7, Atlanta 2. We'll hope for better luck tomorrow night as Aaron Blair will take the mound for the Atlanta Ball Club. Plenty to talk about from San Diego. A quick break. Joe and I will put a bow on it for you right now.